The dumbest lottery winners of all time. Who's gonna lose their money? Who's gonna be the dumbest? And which tragedy are we gonna laugh at the most?
Beginning with Jose Antonio Cuartoc, who almost lost his entire lottery fortune after getting someone else to claim the money for him. You see, when Jose won the $750,000 jackpot back in 2010, he was living in the US illegally, so Jose asked his boss to claim the prize on his behalf, as he feared he couldn't claim the money without potentially facing legal trouble and deportation.
This is actually really sad. Poor guy, he's just working hard, living his life, literally wins the lottery, is too scared to get deported, so can't claim his ticket, and maybe gets taken advantage of?
This worked out perfectly until Jose's boss began to falsely state that he was the one who had actually purchased the ticket. Taking legal action against his boss was risky, given Jose wasn't supposed to be in the country at all. However, given he had security camera footage of him purchasing the ticket, Jose did so and was able to prove that he was the rightful owner to the $750,000 prize.
I feel bad that this guy is on the dumbest lottery ticket winner because it's not his fault. Like, he's not stupid. He's probably pretty smart for not wanting to get deported.
And throughout the legal process, Jose was jailed for drunk driving and was deported back to Guatemala as soon as he won the court case.
That's tough.
Jose Antonio Cuartoc got to keep some of his winnings, as Denise Rossi wasn't so fortunate. When Denise won a jackpot of $1.3 million back in 1996, she'd been married to Thomas Rossi for over 25 years, yet their relationship was apparently lacking in transparency, as Denise didn't tell her husband about the win and instead filed for divorce only 11 days after buying the lucky ticket.
Oh, she's about to get played in the courts, huh?
Afraid to tell Thomas because I knew he would try to take the money away from me. I went to the Lottery Commission office and told them I was married but contemplating divorce. They told me to file before I got my first check, which I did.
She did the smart thing. She went there, she got counsel, she filed before she got the check.
Denise was initially successful in hiding the money from her now ex-husband, as for a whole 2 years after their divorce, Thomas had no idea that Denise had ever won the lottery. However, in May 1999, a letter was sent to Thomas's home address, asking if Denise was interested in a lump sum buyout of her lottery winnings. This was the first Thomas knew about the lottery prize.
She got played by the third party trying to make money off her lottery winnings.
He confirmed that Denise was a winner with the California lottery, and given they were still married at the time of the win, Thomas launched a lawsuit stating that he was entitled to half of the prize money. The judge specifically found that Denise's failure to disclose the lottery winnings constituted fraud, oppression, and malice, and as a result, the trial court awarded Thomas 100% of the lottery winnings.
100%? Not a lawyer, but that seems excessive. This is tough. You hate to see it.
Left Denise with less than nothing, considering she also had to pay for her own legal fees.
She's not dumb. She did what she wanted to do the right way, but I guess she was breaking rules. I mean, it's just, dumb is not the adjective that I would use to describe this. This is just, both of these have been just unfortunate.
Denise's loss of $1.3 million was still nothing in comparison to Evelyn Adams. Dubbed the luckiest woman in America, Evelyn Adams became the first person in human history to win the lottery twice.
Twice? I gotta get some of her bathwater or something. I gotta get some of that luck.
With the probability of this win being approximately 1 in 17.3 trillion, Evelyn seemed to realize that she had no lottery luck left by stating that she was going to quit playing and instead began to buy various businesses, including the convenience store
That's smart. Very smart.
where the lucky tickets had been purchased. While you could argue that this was a smart move, Evelyn still hadn't fixed her gambling problem, and instead of buying more lottery tickets, she instead took the rest of her winnings to the Atlantic City casinos, where she lost her entire remaining fortune.
Not so smart. Who would have thought that someone who won the lottery twice would be a gambling addict? You win the lottery one time and you're like, man, what if I just kept buying lottery tickets?
By 2012, Evelyn was living in a trailer park while stating to the media, winning the lottery isn't always what it's cracked up to be.
You got exactly what it says you got. You just get the money and then it ruins your life.
Kelly Rogers likely had a similar outlook, as after winning over £1.8 million at the age of only 16.
1.8? Oh my god.
Initially, Kelly stated, "I will not go wild and spend loads. I'm going to take some advice and see an accountant. Hopefully I will make us all comfortable. I want to help my family, but I won't change. I just want a normal home, nothing posh. I just want a normal car as well." However, as soon as she received the money, Kelly instead spent £11,500 on 2 boob jobs, £300,000 on clothes, makeup and tattoos, shoes, as well as £85,000 on top of the range sports car.
I mean, you see tragic stories like this with the lottery all the time, but it's more like it changes people, that the money changes people, but you have to think about people who have a predisposition for playing the lottery, right? If you're already wasting money on lottery tickets, you probably are not the most financially savvy person, so you end up in situations like this a lot.
£190,000 in unreturned loans to friends and family members, and
all right, the unreturned loans to friends and family members, I mean, people find out you won the lottery, they're gonna come after your money for sure. You're gonna be hearing from third uncles, you're gonna be hearing from fifth cousins that got all kinds of ideas, they got all kinds of business propositions, they got all kinds of stuff that you ain't never heard about before you won that lottery.
By the end of the year, Callie was back to square one, being on welfare with only £2,000 left in her account. She's since stated it was too much money for someone so young.
I mean,
even
yeah.
if you say your life won't change, it does, and often not for the better.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Can you imagine any 18-year-old gets almost £2 million? I'll go out and buy a sick car, lifetime supply of Feastables, and I'm gonna fill my swimming pool with jelly beans.
I just wish I was a bit older at the time of winning it, because I think at 16 you're still just a child.
I can't believe it's even legal that they could play the lottery at 16. I guess it's in the UK, because in the US you can't do it until you're 18, right?
Which is probably why she's now an advocate for raising the UK's legal gambling age from 16 to 18.
Even if it's an 18-year-old versus a 16-year-old winning this money, what really changes, right? You're still the same. 2 years is not much of a difference at that point in your life.
Callie Rogers certainly spent her money poorly. However, at least she had the chance to spend it, as 25-year-old Amanda Clayton from Detroit was no longer alive by the end of her spending spree. When Amanda won the $1 million jackpot back in 2011, it seemed as though her life had been changed overnight. However, her win quickly became controversial after the media learned that she was still collecting food stamps and benefit payments despite having won the lottery.
I don't know how she even pulled this off. Isn't it based off of your tax return or something? Maybe it's just in the same year. She hadn't reported the income to the government yet.
I thought that they would cut me off, but since they didn't, I thought maybe it was okay because I'm not working.
And shortly thereafter, she was charged with 2 felony counts of
All right, that's tough. That's tough.
welfare fraud and was ordered to pay back the $5,500 worth of food stamps she
Oh,
received.
no.
While Amanda quickly paid the $5,500 back, she never got the chance to spend the rest of the money, as only 6 months later she would unfortunately overdose in one of her 2 homes.
That's really sad. They just get a lot of money and don't know what to do with it, and then, I don't know.
He says she didn't want the money anymore and bought things for her family and set up college funds for her children. He says she only had $67,000 of her winnings left.
The end to Amanda Clayton's story was somewhat unexpected. However, a 2-second glance at Ryan McGee is more than enough to predict that this lottery win would eventually end in disaster.
Leave him alone. He looks like a perfectly normal British bloke.
After winning £6.4 million back in 2008 at the age of 27, he purchased a luxury mansion.
A luxury mansion. It's like a barn with a brick or a stone facade.
Of Ireland, which featured 5 bedrooms, an indoor swimming pool, a full champagne bar, and a 2-car garage where he kept his brand new Ferrari 458 Italia. However, as you might expect, this is where things began to go terribly. Only 3 years after buying the Ferrari,
Well, you know, based off of all the data we have in this video so far, yes, this is where things go badly. Oh, tragic stories about lottery winners? I wonder if this one's gonna go well.
mainly because he was driving in the snow. The Ferrari was not understood to be running on winter tires, which, while costing around £4,400, hugely boost grip and handling.
This is journalism at its finest. He did not have snow tires on, which, while costing around £4,400, hugely boost grip and handling in icy conditions. When you need to get 1,000 words in your essay, but you're running out of ideas.
Ryan's property development business then dissolved, which was accompanied by a divorce from his wife and the sale of his luxury home. Then, 2 years later, Ryan McGee was pulled over driving an uninsured Ford Focus without a license.
He couldn't get insurance on his Ford Focus. They'll pay you to get insurance on the Ford Focus.
Now, Ryan McGee was
Rip.
a complete idiot with his money. However, he still looks like Albert Einstein when compared to Martin Todt.
The transitions are insane. He may be a complete idiot, but he looks like a complete genius when compared to the next guy.
When Martin and his wife Kay won £3 million back in 2001, they didn't go in to claim the prize
Siblings are dating.
because, well, they had no idea that they were winners.
I ask again. siblings, or dating.
They'd purchased a ticket in passing, completely forgotten about it, and would only come to realize that they were the winners after hearing about the unclaimed prize over 6 months later. The main problem was that at some point, the ticket had been misplaced or thrown out completely. Despite frantically searching, the pair couldn't find their ticket, but were sure they had won because the jackpot numbers matched the ones they used every week. Computer records in their local London
Every week, they're playing this lottery.
proved Kay really had purchased the ticket, and the thrilled pair rushed to tell lottery organizer Camelot to claim their prize. But they fell victim to a little-known rule, stating lost tickets must be reported within 30 days.
Oh, gotcha. The lottery organization's like, well, sorry, I know you bought the ticket, but it has to be reported within 30 days for it to count. Oopsie.
After 45 days of deliberation, Camelot told the devastated couple that they would not be collecting the jackpot, and as a result, the couple's marriage eventually came to an end.
Sad.
We'd only known each other for 2 years, and the lottery ordeal quickly highlighted our differences.
As it would.
For a long time, I lost sight of who I was and what I believed in, but I can honestly say I'm glad I didn't get the $3 million now. There is no guarantee it would have brought me happiness.
That's a nice perspective on it. I could sit here comfortably as a non-lottery winner or non-lottery non-winner and say that it's not that big a deal to not get the money, but I can imagine that it would really torture you and it would follow you for many years and you would probably think about it a lot, especially when anything goes bad, like you're hating your job or something and the thoughts really start to creep in. It's like, oh man, if I didn't misplace that lottery ticket, everything would be different now.
The most miserable lottery winner of all time, William Post. When William won a $16.2 million jackpot back in 1988, he had just $2.46 in his bank account.
He's still playing the lottery. He's got $2.46 in the checking. He's like, just one more ticket.
Was able to purchase the lucky ticket by selling a ring for $40 to a local pawn shop.
He pawned a ring to. This is a gambling addict right here. This is gambling addiction at its finest.
Only 84 days after receiving the $16.2 million, William Post had spent the entire fortune on a boat, a lease for a restaurant in Florida, a used car lot, as well as a private jet. However,
well, a couple of those things can make him money.
Even after all of the money had been spent, Post took on a further $500,000 loan to purchase a mansion in Oil City, Pennsylvania. The problem was that William had
That's the bank's bad, though. But you know who always wins in the end? The bank.
and actually purchased the original ticket himself, and had rather given the money to his girlfriend who had bought the winning ticket for him. Because of this, she was able to successfully sue him for 1/3 of the winnings, meaning that Post now owed $5.4 million to his ex-girlfriend from the $16.2 million that he no longer had. Since Post was unable to make this payment, the judge ordered that his bank account be frozen.
Oh my god, look at that icy bank account.
However, before he was able to sell enough stuff to pay the $5.4 million, William was arrested and ordered to serve a 6 to 24-month prison term for an assault charge from 6 years prior. Toward the end of his life, Post was on his 7th marriage with over $1 million in debt and was getting by on food stamps at a job paying $450 per month. However, William Post still doesn't have the craziest lottery win story.
That's very sad. What an actual tragic tale.
That title goes to Andrew Jackson Whitaker, whose life would change forever after winning $300.
Oh, he looks nice, actually.
2002. Unlike almost everyone else,
315 million? That's like the biggest win on this list, isn't it?
Unlike almost everyone else in this video, Whitaker was actually quite successful prior to winning the lottery, having built up a net worth of over $17 million with the assistance of his construction company.
We got ourselves an entrepreneur. How did he find himself in the situation where he's playing the lottery if he's worth $17 million?
And while this would imply that he was in a position to manage a large lottery win, this isn't what would happen. Whitaker instantly donated 10% of the winnings to churches, Christian groups, and spent a further $14 million establishing the Jack Whitaker Foundation, which provided free food and clothing for low-income families in
All right, well, you know, some philanthropy. You like to see philanthropy.
West Virginia.
Obviously, you're doing God's work with all this money.
Yes, I am. I'm helping a lot of people, and I plan to help a lot more.
He then drove back to the convenience store where he had purchased the ticket before giving the clerk a $44,000 check, a $123,000 house, and a brand new Jeep Cherokee.
$44,000 check. It's very specific. The house, really nice. The car, really nice.
Which was followed by Whitaker buying
why?
himself a Lamborghini, in which he'd drive around his neighborhood throwing money out of the window. After flaunting this
He would legitimately throw money out of the window.
wealth, his Lamborghini was broken into, where thieves stole $545,000 in cash.
Why would you keep $500,000 in cash in your car.
Apparently wasn't much of a wake-up call, as his car was then broken into for the second time, resulting in the loss of a further $200,000
There's
cash.
no way. After losing $500,000, he kept another $200K in his car again. There's no shot.
But his granddaughter passed away, his daughter then passed away, which was followed by a divorce with his wife.
Oh, that's sad.
I pretty much lost everything I held dear in my life.
You got lots of money.
Money has never meant anything to me. You have to have money to exist in this world, but money doesn't rule the world. My wife had said she'd wished that she'd torn the ticket up. Well, I wish that we had torn the ticket up too.
Well, on that note, like and subscribe.